Hello and welcome to the VB Toolbox. In this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to check conditions with if statements. This should be fairly straightforward, so let's go ahead and jump into a new project. I'm going to do a Windows Forms application, and I'm going to call this application Conditions. And what we're going to be doing in this tutorial is just comparing the values in various text boxes and integers and strings. So first thing I want to do is add a couple of text boxes to our form. If your toolbox on the side is not visible, just go to View and select Toolbox from that list. Let's go ahead and add a couple of text boxes. I'm just going to double click the text box field here, and then I will select it and press Control-C to copy it and Control-V to paste a copy of that on the form. And next up I will grab a label control, double click that, bring it in. You can also drag and drop it onto your form. That works just fine. I'm going to call this label something simple here. I like to change the names, just shorten them a little for referencing. I'm going to name this label op, short for operator. And I'm going to set the default text value on this to equals. And what we're going to be doing is comparing values between these two form fields. Okay, so we have text box 1. I'm going to also change the name of that to txt value 1, and I'm going to change my second text box to txt value 2. And what we'll be doing is comparing a numeric value in this field to a numeric value in this field, and changing the operator symbol in between based upon the values in those fields. So to get into our form code, what I'm going to do is double click on the form, and that'll bring us to our form load event. Won't really be using that event, so you can get rid of it if you want. Just highlight that and delete it. What I'm going to do is create a simple subroutine here to compare values. So I'm going to say private sub compare values. Okay, and then hit enter, and that'll create our sub for us. And in this little subroutine, what we will do is say if the value, using the value function, we'll check our field for a numeric value. So if you enter text into that, it should be ignored. So I'm going to check the value of txt value1 dot text and see if it's greater than the value in txt value2.text. Okay, so we're going to compare, using an if statement, we're going to compare the values of these two fields. And if this condition is true, if this number in this field is greater than the number in this field, I want to change the label value of our label to equal a greater than sign. Okay, so we're changing the text value on our label to a greater than sign if this condition is true. Let's go to our form here. I want to check this value whenever I am updating one of these text boxes. So if we double click on one of these text boxes, it automatically generates a text change event. Okay, so it's always checking to see if the text has changed. So as we're typing, we can run our compare values sub. So let's say compare values. Alright, simple enough. And I want to do the same for our second form field. So every time we change the values or type in those fields, it'll immediately run this little routine here. So I'm going to compare values on that one as well. So now, if we test this out, I can put 1 in this field, tab over to the next field, and put 2. But that's not correct, is it? 1 is not greater than 2. So we need to check another condition to see if the value in this field is less than the value in this field. So, since we have an if statement rolling here, but we want to check another value, we can use the ELSEIF to compare the values again. So we know that this was not true, but we didn't have anything to fall back on. So let's say if the value of text value 1 dot text is less than the value in text value 2 dot text, then change the label op value to a less than sign. Excellent. So we have if this is true, then do this. Else, if this is true, then do this. So now we're checking two different conditions in the same if statement using if and else if. Run that again, and we'll say, oh, is 1 greater than or less than 5? Oh, it's less than. Okay, see how our operator here changed. But what if we used 5 in both of these fields? Well, 5 is not less than 5, it's equal to 5. So we need one more condition to check here. What we can do is say, well, what if neither one of these is true? What if it's not greater than, and what if it's not less than? Then it must be equal to, correct? So we'll just have a final else. And you can, use multiple else ifs, but it can get pretty tedious if you have a lot of conditions to check. And there are other condition checkers like the select case, which we'll get into in another tutorial. At any rate, this is not true and this is not true, and therefore a third condition must be true. So we will fall back on an equal value. Alright, so you kind of see what we're doing here. There are 3 possibilities. It's either greater than, less than, or equal to. So if we run this guy now, we use 1. Well, 1 is greater than nothing for sure, but it's less than 6. What if, so we put 6 in both fields, and now 6 is equal to 6. That is correct. So our condition checking is accurate. 6 is less than 7. 122 is greater than 7. It's also greater than 77. But if we do 777, see how it flips back and forth? It's working properly. So that's how we check the condition of numbers. What if we want to compare text, or look for a condition in a text string? Well, what we can do is let's add another text field here. I'm going to add a text box, make it a little bigger so we can type a string. Alright. And let's double click on that field. Actually, let's name it first. I'm going to call this one txt value 3. And I will double click on that to create a text change event, so when we type in it, it will automatically run whatever we have in here. What we want to do is check for a specific value within a string using an if statement. So we'll say if txt value 3 dot text dot contains a specific string within our text. I'm just going to say rabbit. Okay. So if this condition is true, then we want to fire something. Let's see. First thing, let's do something crazy here. I'm going to say message box. I will not tolerate rabbit discussions. All right. Say you're using a web forum or something. You want to check and have a language filter. You could use it for doing that, or many other things. Anytime you don't want specific strings to be shown, you can check the contents of a string. So let's just try this. See what happens. I think horses are cool. Bool. Nice. I can't type. Okay. Not a problem with horses. But I wish I had a rabbit. Uh-oh. Does not like rabbits. Okay. Now say we were creating a content filter. We don't want anybody saying, dropping an F-bomb or something about rabbits, right? So let's say if this is true, then txt value 3 dot text equals txt value 3 dot text dot replace if we find a rabbit in there, let's replace it with a horse. I wish I had a rabbit. Oh! This triggered an alarm. It does not like rabbits. We hit OK, and it automatically changed the value to a horse. Do you wish you had a rabbit? Uh-oh. Look at that. So, that is functioning properly. We've checked for a specific condition and found it to be true, and therefore it launched the code inside of that condition. And that is how an if statement works. One thing to note on using, checking for a value like this is that these characters, are also the case of the characters is also checked. So if I said I wish I had a rabbit, notice how I used a capital R, it did not complain. But if I use lowercase, it fires the trigger. When you're doing string comparisons, it's good to set it to a lowercase. So you could use the LCase function around your text. Oh, see, now it detects it even though it has an uppercase R in it. But again, we're not using lowercase on our replacement, so it's looking for a lowercase rabbit to replace with horse. So you could again repeat the LCase. Let's see. Let's do one final example here for fun. Say we wanted to log into a website or change our password or something like that. Let's grab another text box. I'm just going to copy this one, do a Control-C after selecting it, Control-V to paste a new one. And we'll have a username and a password field. And maybe a button for logging on or setting our password. Okay. Change the text on that button. Change the name of it to CMD login. And I'm going to change the value on the text box to txt user. Set this text box to txt pass. I'm going to show you a neat little feature of these text boxes is to set a password character. There it is. And we can set that to a star or an asterisk. And if we go down, use system password character, set that to true. And now when we type in this box, you'll note that it looks like a password field. Pretty sweet, huh? Let's see here. So I'm going to throw in a couple labels here to make this look official. Label 1, I'm just going to change the text to username. And then I will copy that, Control-V, paste it, and I will call that password. Whoops. Alright. Kind of line these up a little bit. Move that over. Yeah, that'll do. Alright, now we want to check some conditions on our username and password fields. So, this time I'm going to tie it to our login button event here. So when we click the button, we'll compare the text in the password box with the text in the username box and make sure that our password is not the same as our username, because that wouldn't be very secure. So we'll say if LCase, we're going to convert them both to lowercase, txt pass dot text equals LCase txt user. Oops. I'm going to close that off. I'm sorry, and we need to reference the text value of that. If these two are matching, then we're going to say message box, your password cannot be the same as your username. And we're going to throw a critical message here. Message style VB critical. And I'm going to say, for the title of the box, we'll say not secure. Alright. So we're going to check a condition on our password and username box. Say username is radmarvin, and the password is, I'm going to do a lowercase radmarvin. I'm going to try logging in. Uh-oh, it's not secure. Our password cannot be the same as our username. What if I set it to this is my password. Login. Okay, no error. What's another security feature? Okay, let's check if our the length of our password is over 8 characters, because if it's too short, again, it's not going to be secure. So as we did above, to continue checking conditions, we use an ELSEIF, and if the length the len function will return the length of a string. Okay, so we'll say if the length of our txt pass dot text is less than 8, then message box, your password is too short. And again, we can throw a critical message there. Title, too short. Alright. So we can run that guy. Say, Rad Marvin. Let's just call the password pass. Uh-oh. Password is too short. Now, Rad Marvin should be long enough. Oh, that triggers the first condition. See? Cannot be the same as our username. So, what if everything is good? Both of these security checks pass successfully. What should we fall back to? Well, we can just give the user some indication that there was a success. So we'll say else message box success. Let's try that. Marvin, hello. Oh, it's too short. Hello world. Yay, everything's good. So, when you check conditions, you know, you can also fire other functions or subroutines as a result. You know, I could fire off, okay, you know, compare values if everything's good. That works too. So the sky's the limit there. I mean, you can use these for pretty much anything. There are other ways of checking conditions. Like I said before, you can use a select case, which we may do in another tutorial. For, you know, if you have more than 3 conditions, or you know, you don't want to have a whole bunch of else ifs, and you have expected results from your checks, then select case is probably a much more efficient means of making those comparisons. So anyway, that should conclude this tutorial. If you have questions or comments, please leave them in, leave me a reply, I guess. And if this has been useful to you, or you feel it would be useful to anyone else, please feel free to share it with your friends or coworkers or acquaintances. Anyway, I wish you all a good day, and take care.